We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Historian Fred Fegis and journalist Rick Karlin chronicle South Florida's LGBTQ bar scene, revealing untold stories of community, refuge, and nightlife over decades.
LGBTQ leaders and allies unite to support the Harris-Walz campaign ahead of Election Day.
Celebrate 25 years of pride and history at the Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival in Wilton Manors, June 13th to the 15th, 2025.
Dani's Queer Bar opens in Boston, offering a dedicated space for sapphic, trans, and non-binary community members.
Hurricane Milton threatens Florida's Gulf Coast, endangering LGBTQ+ communities with storm surge, winds, and flooding. The storm is expected to hit by Wednesday.
Oh, we've got a lot to cover today. Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We're proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we now have more than 9.5 million views because of you. Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ+ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and for your support of our voice in our community. More than 500,000 of you have watched this show in the last 60 days. So welcome and thank you. It is Monday, October 7th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens, unique and queer news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the queer community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBT community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the queer and broader community.
That's right, Greg with 2 G's. And let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's begin by welcoming Rick Karlin. He's a seasoned journalist and editor with over 40 years of experience. I heard 50. In LGBT media. Known for his work in publications like Out South Florida and the Bay Area Reporter, he's authored books and musicals, earning recognition as a Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame inductee. Welcome, Rick, to the table. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Is it the same when you watch your husband, Greg, on Queer News Tonight as it is sitting here at the table?
Well, usually he's sitting next to me.
While you watch it together.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you for joining our table today.
Thank
I'm
you.
really
I'm very
excited in talking to you about your book and stuff like that in our future segment. But Greg, are you nervous that Rick is here?
Oh, heck no.
Like at all? Because I see your pearls a little tight today.
He's clutching.
He's just
There will be no clutching.
All right, we'll get to more of that in a second. All right. Next up, let's welcome Dale
Something
Stine.
else is clutched.
Yeah, right? Something else is clutched for sure. Did you help him with that too, Rick? All right, we'll talk about that later. Let's welcome Dale Stine. He's a celebrated photographer in the LGBTQ+ community. He's the director of music ministry at the famous Unity on the Bay and a moderator at Miami Gay List, one of South Florida's largest LGBTQ+ Facebook groups, which can also be found on IG now as @QueerListOfficial. Dale, so the 14th annual Celebrate Orgullo Festival, I love those people over there, is on Thursday, October 10th at the Main Street Players Theater for the Under the Sea Cabaret. That sounds completely awesome. Tell me what's happening.
Well, yeah, they have, the Unity Coalition took over what was formerly the Miami Gay Men's Chorus, which is now the Miami Gay Chorus. About 2 years ago, I think it was. So, yeah. And it's been a slow build, because things take time. But I've heard them perform now several times in the last couple of years, and they just keep better and better and better. The director of Amazonia, which is an amazing ensemble, Anaida Carque Soler, is so wonderful. She's so dedicated. She's so passionate. And so I think it's going to be a really exciting cabaret. It's going to be really fun. And of course, Celebrate Orgullo is going on for like 10 days. I was at an event last Friday at the Scott Galvin Community Center. The legends, I'll spit it out eventually, the Legends celebration, and they gave an award to Dan Rios, who we know from this very table.
Of course, I love him.
GMCVB.
GMCVB,
and so it was very cool, yeah.
I love Dan Rios, and I love, Herb Sosa and everybody who's over there, John Buckley, Melba, the whole entire George Coronado. I love you as well. I mean, they've got a great group of people, and every single year, it's funny enough, I got to sit at this table because of Celebrate Orgullo. Yeah. My very first time on Queer News Tonight was Herb Sosa voluntold me that I was going to be here and doing a commercial for Celebrate Orgullo. And look at me now, leading the show. So I mean, so dreams do come true, folks. But another reason why Celebrate Orgullo is so important is because it really spotlights the BIPOC community and the indigenous community that is so often not spotlighted. Columbus Day. Indigenous Peoples Day is coming up, okay? And Celebrate Orgullo shows you and gives you that ability to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day correctly.
Yeah, and you can go to unitycoalition.org for all the information. There are events all week, all kinds of things, all kinds of cultural events. And this is the only ticket event is the one, the cabaret event. But tickets can be bought there, unitycoalition.org.
Get your tickets. Next up, let's welcome Cindy Brown, my sister. Look at her. I love her. Cindy was an early organizer of the Miami AIDS Walk and the White Party for Care resource. She's the program's director for the Lambda Living program at Jewish Community Services, and she also served as a founding ED of Miami Beach Pride. So Cindy, the second annual National Coming Out Day luncheon by Lambda Living and the city of Miami is coming up, right? Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, well, for the second year in a row, the city of Miami is going to be hosting us for our National Coming Out Day luncheon. Because of the weather, we've postponed it. It will now be on Tuesday, October 15th. So not exactly National Coming Out Day, but we have a wonderful afternoon planned at the Women's Club of Coconut Grove, which is a beautiful historic place. And it's really a beautiful building. And we're so thrilled that they're going to be hosting us. And in partnership with the city of Miami, Uber will be offering free Uber rides to and from the venue with a special code, which is on the website to reserve your tickets. It's completely free. So if you would like to join us on Tuesday, October 15th, you can find the event at, if you Google Lambda Living online, that will provide you our entire calendar of everything that's going on. And just look for October 15th and our National Coming Out Day lunch, and we hope to see you there.
I love that. So, okay, just to reiterate, right? You're going to take me for free through Miami traffic to Coconut Grove.
And
for free.
Yes. And I have also confirmed that if you live in Homestead, we'll take you from Homestead. If you live in Broward County, we'll take you from Broward County.
Amazing.
So it will be a wonderful event, and transportation is not a barrier. So if you don't have a car, you don't have transportation, it doesn't matter.
Or if you just don't, listen, I got a car and I don't want to deal with the fiasco that is Miami driving. So I'm going to take the Uber to the luncheon. I mean,
do your nails while you're going.
Right? Listen, do my Facebook while I'm doing, normal.
But, the reality is a lot of folks don't have transportation.
No, you're right.
And there's a barrier to participation. So we made sure to remove that particular barrier.
Removing obstacles wherever you go. That's Cindy Brown, baby. That's Cindy Brown. And lastly, but not least, Mrs. Rick Karlin. Oh, wait a minute. No. I mean Gregg Shapiro with 2 G's. An inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame, Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome back, Gregg. So when you were inducted into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame, was it at the same time that Rick was?
Rick was inducted 2 years before I was.
Okay.
The year that I was inducted, one of my co-inductees was Billie Jean King.
Ooh. Wow. So nobody remembered you that year.
We did get our picture taken together, so that was nice.
No.
But and of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of the FayWhat show on Mondays at Hotspots Happening Out. Hello.
Hello. I'm happy to be here again. I'm here on Mondays and Wednesdays leading Queer News Tonight, and I get to be with some of my favorite people on Mondays and Wednesdays. All right, you don't have to worry about watching on Tuesday and Thursday. You should watch on Tuesday and Thursday too, just to compare to see how good I am on Mondays and Wednesdays. So anyway, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, October 7th, 2024. First this evening, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Rick Karlin's new LGBTQ bars book, Last Call, South Florida, October 15th release. Rattling Good Yarns Press will unveil Last Call, South Florida, a history of 1,001 LGBTQ-friendly taverns, hangouts, and haunts on October 15th. This comprehensive volume, penned by historian Fred Figes and entertainment journalist Rick Karlin, transcends the sparkle of South Florida's nightlife to illuminate the real lives behind the bar scene. It chronicles the journey of investors, entertainers, bartenders, and patrons who shaped a vibrant queer community, seeking refuge and camaraderie in a variety of establishments. The authors meticulously explored the LGBTQ bar culture, spanning from Palm Beach to Miami-Dade, including Key West. Their research, which delves into the era of rum runners during Prohibition to present-day venues, involved interviewing numerous individuals and scouring archives for hidden gems of history. The result is a captivating coffee table book that marries entertainment with informative narratives. Rick Karlin, who has over 40 years of experience in journalism, joins us today as an anchor on Queer News Tonight to shed light on this significant creation. Known for his previous work, Last Call Chicago, Karlin's contributions to the queer community have earned him induction into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. He now resides in Fort Lauderdale with his husband, poet and journalist Gregg Shapiro with 2 T's, with two G's, excuse me. If you add 2 T's, it's fine. And their dog, Miss Coco, who is just simply adorable. And we have Rick Karlin with us in studio today. Rick, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
You did this incredible table book for Chicago, right?
Right.
And then, so was that the inspiration to do it in your hometown area as well?
Right. Well, when I did the Chicago book, I was living in Chicago, and I thought somebody needs to document all these bars because so much of our history happened in the bars.
Of course.
Because,
There was
especially for younger people, they don't understand. There were no community centers.
Right. There was no Grindr.
There was no Grindr. There were no LGBT meetup groups. There were nothing.
No shows on TV.
No shows on TV. And
Just
the only
laws
place
against
you could
us.
go to meet people like yourself were the bars.
Yeah.
So that's where we met. And so much of our history started there. During the AIDS crisis, most community organizations started in the bars with people talking about we need to do something.
Yeah.
So they founded community groups.
Yeah.
And they sketched out the ideas on bar napkins. And then they went and started, places like in Chicago, the Howard Brown Clinic, or the Gay Men's Health Crisis in New York, things like that. And that's where so much of our history is.
Yeah. So how did you get all this data? This is a lot of data to pick up. You said from Prohibition to now, and you didn't just say Fort Lauderdale.
A lot of years.
Well, it's a lot of years, but he also didn't say just Fort Lauderdale, right? You are even panning Key West, when it used to be gay.
Right.
Miami, and stuff like that. So.
Well, what I did for Chicago, we went from before Prohibition to the speakeasies and things. But when I came here and I came up with the idea, the first thing I knew is I worked with the man who wrote the definitive history of Chicago's LGBT community before Stonewall in Chicago. So I needed somebody to do that. I knew I could find the bar stuff. So I was reading the old SFGN, South Florida Gay News, and there was an article that Fred Feges, a professor, was doing a lecture on the history of gay bars in South Florida.
So you didn't know him before this?
Didn't know him.
You didn't know him before you saw this article?
No.
Okay.
But I had been thinking about doing a version of the book down here. So I went to it. I listened to his lecture. I said, this is somebody I can work with. He knows what we're going about. So I brought my Chicago book, showed it to him. I said, I want to do something like this for South Florida. He looked at it. He's like, yes, right away. We clicked right away. We were like, yes. We met a week later. We started working on it, and we divided and conquered. He knew the history part. I had the setup to do the research on the bars. So he was, and we right away decided we needed to divide it by counties.
Okay.
Because Palm Beach County's development was very different than Miami's development, or Key West, or Broward. So we divided it by counties, and what I did is I went to Stonewall Museum and Archives. And the first thing I did was go through the old Dameron bar guide.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard of that in a bit.
Yes. And I am a queen that you give me a spreadsheet and a database, and I am a happy camper putting things together.
That's true.
With your dog on your lap. Happy as hell.
I love to make order out of chaos. And so,
hence Gregg.
Yes.
Okay,
that's why I'm married to that man.
Got it. Okay.
That's why our marriage has lasted
32 years.
Yes, 32 years
Mazel
next
tov.
month.
Yes.
And what I did is I went through the bar guides and started with the very earliest one. The very earliest one was about this big, and it was only about that thick, from 84.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, 74.
Okay.
And you go through it, and it's like, there's like two for Florida, I think, or 3 bars in Florida. And you go through it, and then each year it got bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So I would create this database. Then after I had the database, so I knew, approximately what years the bars were open, because they'd stop appearing in the Dameron guide. And then I would go and I would pull all the newspapers for South Florida. And I would go through the newspapers and look at the ads to see what kind of events were going on. So I would write
And
down,
by newspapers, you mean LGBTQ publications,
the
right?
LGBTQ publications.
Yeah, right.
That they,
WN,
yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah. So I had, Hotspots, which before it was Hotspots, it was Hot
David.
Shots.
There was
Yeah,
David.
There was
too.
David.
411.
What?
411 was
411. There were the Passport. There were all sorts of things going on. And I would go through them, and there were some that were only like around for like a year. Some of them only printed 1 copy.
The ads you found were invaluable.
The ads were invaluable, because you got more from the ads. And the other thing was reading, every one of them had a gossip column. It was usually some drag queen done up as an old lady. Aunt Tilly says.
Yes.
And she was basically talking what went on in the bars.
Yeah.
So that's where I got a lot of the information about what the bar was like.
Yeah.
How long did it take you total?
Total, it took me about 3 years.
Wow.
Going through
That's a long
and
time.
accumulating the information.
Okay.
And
And
you
like,
got all the lesbian bars in there too, right?
Yes. And then I also started interviewing people.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I would, I would find people that I knew had been down here for a while, and I would call them up, and I interviewed like Nikki Adams
oh, I love Nikki Adams.
and
Yeah.
Electra.
Yes.
Yeah.
I tried
icons. Yes.
Yes, I tried interviewing Tiffany Ariagas.
Yes.
But girl, you never returned my phone call.
Right.
She's busy.
We love
Tiffany,
Tiffany.
she's busy. She's busy.
4
Saving the
emails and
world.
3 phone calls. She never returned one. But
You know, you
anyway,
could have just asked me. I would have gotten you. I'm just saying.
But anyway, so if she's not in the book, that's why. But I.
You looked at, you
Edison
saw after
Farrow,
icons.
who was an old. Not old. I'm sorry. He's not old.
Edison was,
gorgeous.
he had a lot with the
He did a
martini
lot
party
of
and
early
whatnot.
days,
lot of
martini party.
South
parties
Beach in the 80s.
in the 80s and 90s. Party.
Well, I don't know if he
promoter.
was in the 80s, but he.
The 90s. I
Not
think
the
the very
80s,
tail
not
end
the
of the 80s,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, what
he
I
even
Yeah.
blurbed the book.
He blurbed my book.
Oh, I love
and so did
that.
Yes.
Dr. Capo Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Julio
love that.
Capo.
Did too.
No, what I love about your book is, I mean, I love everything about your book. Honestly,
Thank
it's
you.
it's a great thing. You know, our history is trying to be erased everywhere we go,
Right.
Rick.
Right.
Right? And you're not letting that happen by putting it in there, right?
Right.
Exactly.
It's in print for all to see. No, it didn't happen. Yes, it did, bitch. You
Yeah.
know. But what I love about it is that I love the ads because it really brings that nostalgia about it all,
Yeah.
right? But it's also from the place of a bartender, of a promoter.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
was a door person for lesbian bars. You know, Cindy
I was a
worked at them
bouncer.
as well.
Yes.
Cindy was the bouncer.
Back in the 80s.
Yes.
Okay,
Louise,
she was
the
tough.
bouncer.
No,
Yes.
she still is
tall-
tough.
she
She
was
still is
taller
tough.
then.
She was taller than
I was
she's tough.
taller then, actually.
You know.
Yes.
You know.
And that was the thing. I talked to bar owners. I talked to bar employees. I talked to bartenders. I talked to the customers, entertainers, everybody. It was, I got a little bit of story, and each person, some person gave me another person's contact information.
Yeah.
And I would interview them.
Awesome.
And we got tons of stories. There were so many stories that we had to stop on the Marlin Beach Hotel. It's
Ooh, it was too
two
much.
pages,
Wow.
and we just said, okay, we have to stop this.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
used to do
yeah.
tea dances out in
Oh,
the,
yes.
in the road, right at the Marlin Hotel.
At the Marlin.
Major tea dances with Jody McDonald and Arnie
Yeah.
Smith.
Yes.
Oh my
it was
God.
Back in the 80s,
Crazy.
man.
I
This
love
So
that.
my
how are you
idea is,
How are you and Fred promoting the book?
well, one of the ways we're promoting it is that on the 15th, we're doing the book release party at Hunter's.
Okay.
So we'll have
place.
copies there
Yes.
that people can buy them. And
And
we'll be
Hunters is
able
in the
to-
book as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
Oh, but
Hunters,
Of course, I'm like-
Hunters has a distinction of being in both the Chicago book and
oh, wow.
this book. And so we're doing the release party there at 6 to 8 o'clock on the 15th. And they'll be serving Vinny's going to be serving his cold brew martinis.
Okay.
And we'll be signing the books and selling the books.
Selling the books.
And
Are there other events?
there's also going to be an event at Stonewall in December.
Fantastic.
And I'm setting things up with some of the social groups. I've got a call into Compass, trying to get something set up in
Love
Palm
Compass.
Beach,
They're great.
Wonderful.
trying to get
The Pride
something
Center.
set up in Key
Miami
West.
Beach.
Yes.
I'm going down to Miami Beach tomorrow to meet with the LGBT committee and talk with them.
Oh,
Meet
Yeah.
up Tuesday.
Yes.
Well, and-
Steve Atkins and that.
Yes.
And you
Dale
need to
and
go
I
to
know
Key
about
West
that
as well.
guy.
Yes.
You need
yes.
to go to
We
Key
have a
West as
history.
well and go on over to the Aquaplex over there with John
Right.
Barrett, and he'll let you have it. John,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
sending Rick over, all right?
Okay.
So question, Rick. So if somebody wants to buy the book,
Yes,
and they can't go to any of these events,
It's available on Amazon,
Amazon.com.
Fantastic.
and
Perfect.
barnesandnoble.com, any of your online
And the
booksellers.
publisher.
Yeah.
And through the publisher, Rattling Good Yarns Press. And I don't know if they are sending it out without shipping charges. They were for a while, but
Okay.
that was a little deal they were offering. But I have to tell you that at the first thing I did for it, there's an ad right on the front here for the Hayloft. And the very first thing, the guy comes up to me and goes, I was a go-go dancer there. And that's a drawing of me.
What?
Yes.
How?
So
small
that was
world.
so cool.
Oh my God, how
He
incredible.
was 60. He's like 68 now.
Right.
You know, and this looks like an
happens.
18-year-old.
I love
So it was
that.
great.
Awesome.
I love that.
Congratulations.
Thank
Rick,
you.
Rick, honestly, this is so important, especially how, just what we're going through right now, an election year, our history being erased at all
Right.
corners. I'm constantly telling everyone that'll listen that we've we've got to share our LGBTQ plus stories with those that come after us, right? So they can know what we went through, you know? I mean, you know, because a lot of these places were LGBTQ plus friendly because they couldn't be just a gay bar, you know, under the politics of it all, you know? So you're able to shine light on that like nobody else has, and I'm just all for it. I love it.
And one of the things I want to say is that it is my hope that you have to know the city to do it. This one was a little bit harder for me than Chicago because I was born and raised in Chicago. I was not born and raised here. So, for example, like I didn't know that Lejeune in Miami had another name.
42nd.
So those were some things I had to learn while I was doing it. But my hope is that people from other cities pick up the mantle, and there's a last call St. Louis and a last call Denver.
Absolutely right.
And
franchise the
franchise the thing, and really, I will help you set up your database if you
you've
want
got the
to do
spreadsheet
that.
already
I've got the
spreadsheet
set up.
It's an official call.
And again, what a great way to show our history to the
Because that's
following
where it
folks.
is.
Like,
The bars are
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hold the book up one more time, Rick. Please do me a favor. Last Call South Florida. So that's going to be it. Get it on Amazon or go to Hunters for the event or go to any one of the other ones. Or you can follow Rick Karlin on social media and find out where else he's going to be peddling the book and signing it for you and taking a picture and everything, okay?
And at least I have a case. I have 100 copies sitting in my living room, so we need to get rid of them.
Because his wife is not.
I'll take one.
For sure. You already sold 3 right here. Okay. There you go. Thank you, Rick. And you're going to stay on the show with us to help opinionate the rest of our stuff here, right?
Me with an opinion?
Who knew? Dale, what's next?
Next, let's queer up politics. Governor Tim Walz joins Out for Harris in national meeting October 10th. With less than 30 days until Election Day, the Out for Harris Walz program is gearing up for a crucial campaign push. Governor Tim Walz will join the national organizing call on Thursday, October 10th, alongside Congressman Robert Garcia, State Senator Sarah McBride, and HRC President Kelly Robinson. According to Sam Alaman, the LGBTQ+ community engagement director of Harris for President, quote, "This is a critical moment for action as the LGBTQ community faces a state of emergency. MAGA Republicans are hell-bent on attacking our freedoms, erasing LGBTQ+ history, and legislating our bodies," end quote. The upcoming event, timed just before National Coming Out Day, aims to galvanize support for champions of equality like Vice President Harris and Governor Walz. Alaman urged, "We need all hands on deck," calling for allies and community members to unite in this pivotal moment. Participants are invited to join queer leaders and allies from across the country for a national organizing call where they can learn how to get involved in the final stretch leading to the election on November 5th. The momentum is building as the Democrats prepare to face the critical challenges ahead. You can join the event for free at hrc.org. Well, I think it's just wonderful how so many different communities, not just the LGBT community, but so many different communities have just jumped into the fray to support Harris and Walz. And I think this is it is exactly what the story says. This is a critical moment. Our lives are on the line. Our history, as we've just heard, is on the line. Everything, our bodies are on the line. Everything is on the line. So the more we can get involved, the more we can do to help propel Harris and Walz into the White House, the better.
Whatever. And like Alaman said, who is super cute, by the way. Did you see his picture? I'm sorry. Can you put his picture production back on the screen? Alaman's a cutie.
Hello, hi.
Hello, hey, hottie. Hey, hottie. And that's from a lesbian. I'm just telling you. No, but like what Dale said, all hands on deck. That's it. And these calls, they invigorate, man. You know, I was on the LGBTQ plus one when it came for Harris, and all the organizations that needed to be in play were there, right? White dudes did the same thing. Black women started the whole thing, okay? As always, saving our lives, the black women of the world, right? And these calls invigorate. They let us know that we're still talking to you, you know? I know it's silly, but every day I get a text that, hey, it's Kamala. I know it's not Kamala, but it makes me feel seen, right? And then she'll have like these, you know, these stars sending you texts also. You know, it's these little details that keep me informed, that may keep somebody who's not always watching the news like I am in the game and wanting to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah, we need allies in the White House now more than ever. Right. And if there's not a blue wave in November, and the Republicans still control the House, Walz will be needed to cast deciding votes. And we need the former sponsor of the Gay Straight Alliance at his high school more than we need that chinless closet case with guy liner on in casting the vote.
Well, really and truly, vote as if your life depended on it, because now more than ever it does. And don't forget, within less than a month to go, you can still register to vote in Florida online until tonight, at 11:59 p.m. So if you haven't, please do it.
You know, and all the mail-in ballots have gone out. So look at your mailbox and make sure that you received it, okay? Listen, my wife has always done mail-in, always. She has a thing that she hates the polling. She's Cuban. She hates everything, right? But my point is that for this election, yes, the ballot arrived, but no, she's walking with me and doing the voting in person. I just don't trust it. You know, not that I don't want to trust the system. I'm just afraid, right?
There's so much shenanigans going on.
Because there's so much shenanigans. And you know that when Kamala and Walz win, November 6th, these people are going to be looking at every single vote, right? And checking it out piece by piece when they lose, So just get everybody, all hands on deck. And it is posting. It is, I saw a very smart post the other day that made so much sense, that just was targeted towards women and saying, like, men around you won't know who you vote for. Okay. When you're in that booth, vote for the person who is not going to tell you what to do with your body, right? And these things make sense, right? Or right now we're going through a hurricane crisis here in Florida. People have been posting the right wing, the MAGA Republicans, better said, that are voting against, that don't want FEMA, right? That don't want these disaster services that we so need, right? Rick Scott, these are the people that you don't want working for us.
Right.
Yeah. And don't forget, you can get a mail-in ballot, and the day of the election, you can walk it into the polling place.
That's what I just said.
And just hand it to them. No, just hand it to them. I said with my
wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant you were going to go in and vote.
No. You bring in your mail-in ballot, they rip it in front of you to let you know, and then they let you do it in person.
No, you can just hand in the ballot and vote.
Oh, you can also do that.
Yeah.
Filled out.
Filled out. You don't want to wait in line.
There are plenty of options. There are lots of options, but the MAGA Republicans and their cronies are trying to make voting much more difficult. Hence all the gerrymandering and all that stuff. It's just insane.
Well, and I expect them to bring out all their guns as well, people, right? So I see them making it harder for people to vote, making it uncomfortable at polling places and stuff like that. Intimidation. So grab your friends. There's strength in numbers, right? You twinks out there, if you're sleeping with 5 old guys, you take all 5 and you all go together.
Put them in a van.
Muscles.
Yeah, we have an advocacy committee at Unity on the Bay, and we're talking about going together as a group to go voting.
Oh,
just because also the power of feeling the togetherness and the team effort. It's important.
Completely. Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival 2025 is launched as it celebrates 25 years. Hotspots Happening Out proudly announced today the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival, and it's set to take place the weekend of June 13th through the 15th, 2025 in Wilton Manors' iconic nightlife and entertainment district, Wilton Drive. Named after New York's Stonewall Inn, the site of the 1969 riots, the Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival represents a pivotal moment in queer history and civil rights. For 25 years, this event has honored the legacy of Stonewall, celebrating pride and resilience within the LGBTQ+ community. Jeff Sterling, CEO of Hotspots Happening Out, said, quote, "We are very proud of our role of helping to build the largest LGBTQ+ event in Broward County. It was in 2014 that we were asked by the city to help save the event from financial ruin and mismanagement, which consistently held it back from success since its inception. Back then, there were a mere 14,000 people, primarily from Broward County, in attendance," end quote. Through collaboration with local businesses, the city of Wilton Manors, and Hotspots Happening Out, attendance has soared to over 50,000 from across Florida and beyond, generating $20 million in economic activity for Broward County. The 25th celebration coincides with the 40th anniversary of Hotspots magazine, which has documented South Florida's rich queer history since 1985. With over 60 unique events a year, Hotspots has created a strong community presence, including the Happening Out television network. The organization has produced the first LGBTQ+ television talk show in American history and continues to amplify diverse voices through programs dedicated to various communities. So mark your calendars for Saturday, June 14th, 2025, and Don't miss the chance to secure early bird tickets at stonewallpride.lgbt. VIP options and sponsorship opportunities are also available. And you can read a full feature story on the 25th anniversary of Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival in the new Hotspots magazine. So make sure that you do that. Honestly, the Pride Parade, the Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival is like my favorite festival of all the festivals. And I go to many festivals, okay? And the reason it's one of my favorites is, aside from the fact that I get to announce the parade with my dear friend Al Ferguson, 4 hours on stage with Al.
Lucky you.
It's fun.
Better you than me.
In the heat of June. Yeah. No, it's actually, it's really invigorating. It's a lot of fun. I love it. We've got a strained relationship in LGBTQ plus when it comes to law enforcement. And, for whatever reason, everybody just comes together for this Pride Parade. You see all the cities individually represented, all the police from different cities coming to be a part of it. The nonprofit organizations go all out with their parades, with their floats, with their people. It's just, the representation is so there and you feel it. It's electrifying. From that stage, I feel so much electricity coming from all the queer people out there walking the parade. And it's again, let me reiterate the inclusivity of it all. It's not just a gay boy parade, which we know and love and enjoy, right? But it's not. It's everyone is represented. And just like Rick was talking about in the first segment about how Hotspots has been documenting queer culture and queer life for 40 years, it's a stark difference where we are today, celebrating with 45,000 other LGBTQ plus people than where we were back in Prohibition times, where we had to hide and not be out and authentic when we went out and partied.
Well, and there's so many people there that are not LGBTQ
Awesome.
that are there to support us and have a good time.
Families, lots of families.
Lots of families.
And that's one of the big key factors, because we're 2024 and then next one 2025. The LGBTQ plus community in 2025 is vastly different than the community was in 1969. And the Pride events now really represent who we are. We come from all walks of life. We are extremely diverse. And at these Pride events, you see it also in Miami Beach Pride, everybody comes together and they get along. And you can bring your grandparents. I mean, the Prides today are more oriented towards bringing your whole family.
As long as they don't mind an occasional butt crack.
Well, I think that
a lot, but
I mean, I think that there's
my grandmother actually looks forward to them.
I love it.
I think it's important though to have a place where you can bring your grandparents, your parents, your children, your grandchildren to show them that you're proud of who you are and this is the community that you've come from.
And we're so lucky to and here in South Florida, we have Pride celebrations beginning in January.
Yes, we do.
With My Hollywood Pride and continuing every month, including Miami Beach Pride, as you mentioned, in April, Stonewall Pride in June, all the way through the fall. That's how gay we are.
Exactly.
That is how
That's how proud we are.
And it was so nice last year because it was later in the evening. The floats were lit up and spectacular.
And that's cooler. And that's another aspect that I was going to mention is just that you don't get to you don't have to sweat your ass off as much as you do in other parades because it's at nighttime, And we've been through a tough couple of years. We went through COVID. We went through drag bans. We went through Don't Say Gay, right? And a lot of people were thinking that we would cancel the Stonewall Pride Parade and Street Festival. And I bet you, the organizers probably got, some backlash here and there, and they were like, absolutely, under no circumstances will we not have drag queens, and we will not cancel this event under no circumstances. So get your VIP tickets now. The VIP tent is always a lot of fun, right? By the time I get there, all the food's gone, so let's not.
Oh, and the food was great.
The food was delicious last year. People were texting me from there saying, you got to see this food. You got to
get in here.
And the second I get there, the last rib was gone.
Oh, damn. I probably ate the last one.
You probably didn't. I know, because then Cindy comes up to me with like some
nice
on her face,
a nice Jewish girl.
A nice Jewish girl with the the barbecue on her face, and I'm just like, thanks. Let me lick your face, Cindy.
Oops. Oh,
Cindy, what's next, Mama?
Next, let's queer up lesbian culture. Speaking of
licking your face.
Yeah. Dani's Queer Bar opens in Boston as Denver's only lesbian bar closes. Dani's Queer Bar, Boston's first lesbian bar in decades, opened last month, marking a significant milestone for the city's LGBT community. The bar, branded as a space for sapphic, trans, and non-binary community members, joins a growing movement known as the Lesbian Bar Renaissance, which has seen over a dozen queer women's spaces emerge nationwide since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The bar was the vision of Thais Roca, who spent more than 2 years developing the venue. Roca initially hosted parties for queer women in Boston before launching a fundraising campaign in March of 2022 to establish a permanent space. Her efforts were further supported by a space grant from Boston Mayor Michelle Wu's Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion in May of 2023. After navigating delays due to permitting issues, Dani's Queer Bar, named after Roca's dog, of course, because we're lesbians.
Well, it should be a cat.
Well, officially opened last month. Attendees of the grand opening, like Stevie Dickey and her girlfriend Jace Williams, expressed excitement at finally having a venue catering to queer women, trans, and non-binary individuals in Boston. Before Dani's, the city had not had a dedicated lesbian bar for over 2 decades. With this resurgence of sapphic space nationwide, Dani's Queer Bar offers a vital place for the community to gather and feel represented. However, it's not all smiles and joys for the community. While a new lesbian bar opened in Boston, one bar closed down in Denver. The city's only lesbian bar, which was located on Colfax Avenue, was shut down last month after more than a decade. Its name was Blush and Blue, which opened in 2012. In the closing announcement, owner Jody Buford criticized changes in the lesbian bar scene, stating as of 2017, Blush and Blue was the last lesbian bar in Denver and one of just 21 nationwide. You know, when I first came out, there were so many lesbian bars that I could choose to go to in Miami, in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. It was awesome. You know, we were talking about the book a little while ago, and there's tons of lesbian bars in that book. And I live in Miami, and there is not one single lesbian bar in Miami. Nope. Not one single one. Nope. And it definitely, I feel that we're missing something, really missing something.
You know, and I know that people will argue and say that other places have become more inclusive and that's why, right? That's bullshit, okay? That is bullshit, okay? When I typed into Google right now, lesbian bar Miami, all the gay boy bars came up.
Right.
Which are also very welcoming to us, right? Twist, Azúcar, and Nathan's. Yeah. Those are the 3 that came up, okay? They're not lesbian bars, all right?
Not at all.
They're lesbian adjacent, right? I guess if you want to say, you know, but they're not lesbian bars. And it sucks to say that people have been toying with this idea and this question for years and years about why lesbian bars can't stay open, right? I can only speak by experience of my friends, okay? Because I'm not that lesbian girl, as you guys all know, right?
Yeah, you're out partying everywhere.
I'm out partying everywhere, right? But like my lesbian friends have found their mate and have decided to stay home. Okay, and that is kind of across the board what has happened. They go out for big events, right? It's the 1-year anniversary, or it's the Pandora anniversary, or it's
Aquagirl.
They go for Aquagirl, or they save their money and they go, or they save their money and they go on an Olivia cruise, right? They don't go and support these bars. So, folks out there, if you're living near Dani's Queer Bar, go support. Sure. Go support. Ladies, non-binary folks, go. This is a safe space for you. This place was opened for you. These owners and organizers had to jump through so much red tape and obstacles and money. Everything's expensive these days. I paid $4 for almond milk the other day and $3.50 for eggs. I'm not happy, okay? So everything's super expensive these days, all right? So them putting their hearts and souls into opening this place for us, please go support.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad that we're talking about this, not only because we're talking about Rick's book,
you're promoting.
I'd like to recommend Krista Burton's 2023 book, Moby Dyke, an obsessive quest to track down the last remaining lesbian bars in America. It is amazing, as Rick's book is, because she specifically wrote about her experience at Blush and Blue. She writes about Blush and Blue in Denver in this book, and also as somebody who went to college in Boston in the 80s. I'm very happy to hear that there is a new women's bar opening there. When I was there in the 80s, the women's bars were amazing. There was Prelude and Somewhere Else, and they were some of my favorite places to go and dance and hang out with friends. So it's nice to hear there's a women's bar back.
Yeah, we need more of that.
I was glad to hear this because I'm currently working on my next book.
In Boston?
Last Call Boston.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
I'll be sure to include it. In doing the books, I discovered that the average lifespan of a lesbian bar is 2.5 years.
That's it?
Yes,
That's
it.
Not every
today,
place is
perhaps.
Henrietta's.
They used to be.
Henrietta's was open forever.
Oh,
New York.
forever.
New
Even-
York.
I
New
mean,
York.
Yeah, they're still open.
in the past, there were ones that
Mhm.
there were
Still open.
some that were open for a long time,
Long time.
but a lot of them were still only 2 years.
Yeah.
That's
Because
the
a lot of it is a lot of people go in underfunded. You know, but the other thing is, true, women go in and they meet somebody and that's it. They don't go to the bar anymore.
That's it. And,
And-
and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know? And again, and a little part of it is because we can go to your bar, but
Right. And historically, women did not have as much money to spend. So
It's
they
still
did,
true.
And,
Disposable
and,
income,
still.
right.
and also
Still, yes.
a lot of women in the past, and it may be true now, were also women who had been married
And they had kids.
and they had kids. So that made going to the bars harder too,
yeah.
because they'd have to get a babysitter.
It's hard being a
and all that.
lesbian.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Especially a single one. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Well, let's hope that this sparks other people to, follow
Yeah, yeah.
through and open up
Yes.
other sapphic places for us girls.
Right.
All right.
Awesome.
Next, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Major LGBTQ communities in Florida prepare for devastating Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Milton, which formed on Sunday and is now a devastating Category 5 hurricane, poses a grave threat to Florida's Gulf Coast, particularly impacting the state's largest LGBTQ communities in St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Orlando. Forecasted to intensify rapidly into a major hurricane, Milton could bring life-threatening storm surge, destructive winds, and flooding rainfall by late Tuesday or Wednesday. Governor Ron DeSantis stated, quote, "It's not any type of storm that has been dealt with certainly in recent years," end quote. The forecast track initially suggested a different hit on the Tampa Bay area, but later shifted south towards Sarasota. However, DeSantis emphasized that models are subject to change, urging residents to prepare for a possible landfall anywhere along the western Florida peninsula, with an expected landfall in Pinellas County around 5 p.m. A state of emergency has been declared in 51 counties, including major urban centers with significant LGBTQ populations. Kevin Guthrie, Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, recommended evacuations for those in vulnerable areas. Flood watches are in effect throughout South Florida, with rain totals expected to reach between 5 to 12 inches, exacerbating the situation for those still recovering from past storms. Sorry, I was distracted by the 12 inches.
Wow.
I just
Wow.
gotta bring some levity.
This is such a serious
I know.
topic,
Just-
Greg.
And I also want to assure our very good and dear friend Milton, who lives in Oakland Park with his husband Sumner, that we in no way blame him or hold him responsible, especially if there's no significant damage to Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, or Miami Beach from his namesake hurricane. But seriously, this is now our second major one. I think we've been living here 10 years. We rode out the last one. Was it Ida? No, something with an I. Whatever. Irma. We rode out that one. It was intense. There was, no power for 6 days. So
I got a new roof out of it.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So how many of you lived through?
I have been in Florida since I was born, and I'm 63 next month. So I can't even tell you how many hurricanes I've lived through.
But our
I
last
can
big one, you
tell
were here
you,
during Andrew.
I was in South Dade during Andrew, which is where it had its most significant impact. And I can tell you, folks who are like, oh, it's going to miss us, maybe it will, but I urge everybody to prepare because it might miss you, but what if it doesn't?
What if it doesn't?
It's always better. This is what I always say. It's better to have and not need than need and not have. So prepare and then be happy that you prepared for nothing.
Completely.
Absolutely.
Listen, people love to bitch, okay? People love to bitch. This is something that we live with, right? Okay, we get the beautiful weather most of the time and the beautiful people and the queer place to be our safe, authentic selves. But what comes with it is this weather. And this is what we have to deal with all the time. We were talking about Irma. Irma was during my wedding.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so like everything was closed down for my wedding. I couldn't get my bridal shower dress. Like it was a thing, you know? I mean, not that was a big deal. I'm just saying, you know, they say if it rains on your wedding, you're going to stay together forever. So I guess me and Teresa are here till the next lifetime. Damn it. I thought it was death do us apart. Anyway, but you know, the reality is that just like Cindy said, prepare and shut the F up. Don't tell other people not to, okay? That's bad misinformation that you're spreading. You don't know if someone's in a low-level spot. You don't know. There's a lot of places that never flooded 30 years ago here in South Florida and now flood every single rainstorm that we have. We didn't even have a hurricane back in June, and it flooded so many areas, and it caused so much damage, and people lost their homes over a rainstorm, you know? So, I mean, my heart goes out to the folks up north. They don't need this. Their floors are already saturated. You know, my heart goes out to the people in Sarasota. Our own Al Ferguson has a home in Sarasota, you know, and he's deathly afraid of what can happen because they've got beautiful trees all surrounding this gorgeous house that could be impacted, that might be impacted. We're at a category 5 now, folks.
Yeah.
You know, how fast did this storm change? You know, and that damn cone, I sleep. I have dreams about that damn cone.
Right.
And the spaghetti things.
And you know, this is part of a larger conversation about climate change.
Absolutely.
And it's also harkening back to the reason why we need to vote blue, because the other side thinks it's a hoax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And look, my home state, look what just happened in North Carolina. In Asheville, in the mountains.
Horrible.
I mean, so this shit is crazy.
It is crazy. And to reiterate something that we said in the last segment, again, you know, Trump and the right, the MAGA Republicans believe that we should eradicate FEMA and that we should get rid of the National Weather Service, all right? These people save our lives down here in South Florida every hurricane season, and you want to get rid of them?
Right.
Okay?
Project 2025, scary AF.
Yes, and also keep in mind that those lands up there are already saturated.
Yes.
Exactly.
So there's nowhere for the water to go when it hits there.
Right.
So, and I have to say about our friend Milton, you know, he's already got T-shirts printed that say, "I got blown by Milton." So he's ready for it.
In Wilton.
In Wilton.
Say, I got blown by Milton in Wilton.
Yes.
I want to add one more thing because one of the things that I heard, you know, right after Helene hit, they were talking about how many people died, and a huge number of people who initially died in Hurricane Helene were car accidents. So do not drive. You might think nothing is happening. You know, we got some bans, but if you go out and drive and you get hit with one of these bans and you get an 80-mile-an-hour wind sideswiping your car, you're in trouble.
Or debris, Cindy, or debris hit you. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in a Hummer. It don't matter, okay? And you Tesla people.
A tree limb comes down on you, you're gone.
So if they say don't go out and drive, don't go out and drive.
Don't be a hero or a fool.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, stay safe at the end of it all. Tonight's broadcast is presented by viewers like you and the generous support by Visit Lauderdale. Everyone under the sun. Next, the OUTshine Film Festival returns October 17th with Fort Lauderdale Spotlight Night on October 19th. The OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival, renowned as one of the largest queer cultural festivals globally, is gearing up for its 42nd edition, featuring a captivating array of films and vibrant events. Set to run from October 17th, this year's festival promises to unite cinema lovers in South Florida and beyond, showcasing an impressive lineup of 62 acclaimed features and shorts from 25 countries. The festival will kick off on Thursday, October 17th, with the opening night film, Young Hearts, screening at 7 p.m. at Regal Dania Point. Following the film, festival goers are invited to an electrifying after-party at 9:30 p.m. at 14 North Daiquiri Bar inside Dania Improv. Attendees can enjoy an open bar, past appetizers, live music, and themed daiquiri drinks in a festive atmosphere. The excitement continues on Saturday, October 19th with the Fort Lauderdale Spotlight Night. The men's spotlight film, Duino, will screen at 7 p.m. at Gateway Theater, while the ladies' spotlight film, Last Ex Mas, will be at 7:15. An after party is scheduled for 9:45 at El Tamarindo, featuring delicious food, drinks, and entertainment. Don't miss the chance to be part of this extraordinary cultural experience at the OUTshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival. Further details are available at OUTshinefilm.com.
Task Force Gala comes to Miami Beach on October 19th. The 28th Annual National LGBTQ Task Force Gala will be held on Saturday, October 19th at the Miami Beach Convention Center. The event will feature a red carpet entrance, cocktail reception, auction, formal dinner, live entertainment, award ceremony, and an after party with a DJ that is alive. This year's theme, Roots of Progress, Blooms of Hope, celebrates 50 years of progress for LGBTQ equality. Proceeds benefit the LGBTQ+ Equity Fund, supporting South Florida organizations through partnerships with Our Fund Foundation and the Miami Foundation. Tickets are now available at thetaskforce.org.
Welcome to a celebration where we nurture hope for our community. Join us for the National LGBTQ Task Force Gala, Roots of Progress, Blooms of Hope. This year, we gather to honor our journey together and envision a future where our dreams blossom into reality. Experience an evening where your support fuels change, and every moment is a testament to our collective strength. From inspiring performances to powerful stories, each element of the night is designed to celebrate and uplift our community. Get ready for an evening of celebration and impact. Hosted by actor and musician Jay Rodriguez, honoring Karamo, Jim Tyrell, and Roger Thompson. See you on Saturday, October 19th as we celebrate our journey and fuel our future. Your presence makes all the difference. See you there.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Mr. Man celebrates 10 years of social media nudity. Adult entertainment site Mr. Man offers something unique. A collection of male celebrity nudity clips and images from Hollywood's biggest stars. From Richard Gere and American Gigolo to Jacob Elordi, the site caters to the curious. Stephen Atanasi, editorial manager at Mr. Man, said, quote, "It humanizes celebrities," end quote, noting how nudity makes stars relatable. Originally aimed at women, Mr. Man's audience shifted to focus more on gay men, thanks to writer Nick Kania. As AI and CGI evolve, Atanasi believes high-quality content and listening to customer demands, like creating more top 5 videos, will keep the site thriving. Well, I'm not surprised at all that it's now catering to gay men because, and I'm the one who's guilty, like many of us, of getting a screenshot of a video and then zooming in. It doesn't always work.
God, you're such a gay man. Okay, so I've got some people that you need to add to that list of nudes. Okay, I need to see Pedro Pascal nude, and I need to see Coleman Domingo nude. Okay, so work on that for next one. That's it.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal is on there.
Yeah, never heard of it.
I'm gonna go look for it.
Okay.
Probably will never go on it, but that's okay.
I think the puppets in Avenue Q got it right when they sang "The internet is for porn."
Right. You know, I didn't know about this site, but I now plan to spend waste a lot of time on it, and miss many deadlines.
Oh my God, you're gonna see it in his search history all the time. LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up gay culture. Mutts and Muscles 2025 calendar is out to benefit rescue dogs. Photographer Mike Ruiz's 11th annual Mutts and Muscles calendar features fitness legends and adorable rescue dogs supporting animal rescue charities. The 2025 edition stars cover model Sergei Constance, famous for his role as Zeus in Justice League, alongside 14 rescue dogs. Ruiz highlights the shelter crisis, stating, quote, "I use this calendar as a lighthearted way of delivering a somber message about how this country has normalized the disregard for sentient beings," end quote. Featured pairs include Alessandro and Devin, Sam and Bonnie, Ed and Abby, and probably my favorite, Matthew and Ember. Support the cause and order at louislegacy.org/calendar. I mean, it's absolutely right. It's a pandemic beyond that people don't understand of how many dogs are needing homes and are just let out and just discarded like crap or treated and abused poorly. You know, people should need a license to have pets. That's just my own personal opinion, or should be thrown in jail for any kind of abuse to a living thing, including dogs and cats. So I love this. I mean, these are two of my favorite things aside from gay boys. It's Mutts and Muscles. So I'm just like, over the moon. Mr. Ruiz, you did it again. I will definitely buy my calendar.
Yeah, and he's an amazing photographer. And I love, and he's quite famous. He's photographed really many celebrities. And I just love that he's using his platform in this way to save all these animals. He really also does a lot of focus on pitties and the other dogs that are really the most vulnerable.
And most misunderstood.
Most misunderstood and most, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the puppies are great.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. So Cindy's getting one just because the puppies are great. All right.
Yeah, right.
All right.
I have one question.
Please.
Why wasn't Faye in this? Have you seen her biceps?
Yeah. What? Who knew? Right? Muscles and Mutts. And FayWhat. All right. Cindy, what's up, baby?
Yeah, LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. PRISM stands up for LGBTQ youth. This week, PRISM hosted its 4th annual gala at the Center for Spiritual Living in Fort Lauderdale, celebrating LGBTQ history. Themed, "The Shoulders We Stand On." The event honored community leaders through awards for youth leadership, volunteerism, and allyship. The gala featured a silent auction, dinner, and captivating drag performance by Carla Croqueta. PRISM's dedication to promoting inclusive education and highlighting the struggles and the triumphs of the LGBT community was evident, paying tribute to the pioneers who fought tirelessly for equality in South Florida. Everyone at Hotspots Happening Out congratulates Executive Director and Queer News Tonight anchor Max Fenning for a job well done. Yes, Max, well done. What you have done with PRISM and for the youth in our community is amazing. You're so young. I can't wait to see what you're going to do next.
We expect great things from Max, and he never disappoints.
Right? I mean, he started a nonprofit at 17, now is the ED of this. And that's what was washing over me when me and Dale went to the gala this Saturday, was just like, wow, you're so young. And
I was trying to remember the first time I sat with him at this table. I guess he was 18.
I remember the first time I saw him
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so old now. He's 22.
He's 22.
Yeah, well, I remember commenting that he couldn't go out to have a drink after the show because he wasn't old enough.
But the gala was very, very well done. It had a very charming, intimate feeling to it, and the setting was great, and it was wonderful.
Well, I gotta
give... It's a wonderful organization, too. We didn't have PRISM when I was a kid.
No,
we just
didn't
had
have
Drama
anything
Club.
like that.
Right? That's all you had was the theater geeks, right? That's what you had.
And if you weren't a theater geek, you were screwed.
And you were screwed, right? You were screwed. Big shout out going out to Josie Smith-Malave. Chef Josie, she did all the food for the PRISM Gala, and the food was
delicious. She did a vegan thing just for me.
Delicious. And she did a vegan dish
awesome.
just for Dale, because she loves her some Dale. What I loved about the event was I loved the intimate part of it, but I also loved that this was a youth-geared gala, right? We're there to fundraise money for youth, right? So the youth were the ones that signed you in. They were the one who registered you. They were the ones who walked you to your table. They were the ones who served you food. They were the ones who brought you the pitchers of water. They were there. They were the MC. The beautiful MC was just amazing. She was so dynamic and just adorable, and had everybody, interacting. You know what I mean? That's not an easy thing sometimes with our community, right? I can attest to that, right? I can attest to that. So it's just great job, Max. Great job to you and your team. You should be very proud of yourself.
Bravo.
Your speech was exceptional, and like Gregg, no pressure, but we see you gotta do some more.
Right.
LGBTQ 1 minute news. Let's queer up gay culture. TikTok users use AI to generate a gay voice. A TikTok user named @JustinFand posted a video of how he used AI software to make a new ChatGPT voice mode that can emulate a gay Southern man. We are loving it. This innovative use of AI is surely adding a fresh twist to gay culture. Take a look and tell us what you think.
I'm in a manic obsession with playing with the new ChatGPT voice mode, so let's do it again. I'm describing gay men to it, and it's creating the voices. Deal with it. Hey, can you create a voice? I really want you to help me emulate a voice of a gay man who is extremely flamboyant, but who also grew up in like the deep, deep South, like the Alabama South. So he has kind of an Alabama twang to it. I'd like you to say something that you would imagine this person would say if they grew up on a farm, but were extremely gay.
Oh, honey, let me tell you something. Growing up on that farm in Alabama, I learned real quick that a wrangle a herd of cattle and serve a look at the same time. You ain't seen nothing till you've watched me sashay through a field in my overalls, dog.
I don't know why this pisses me off, though. Why is everybody so happy about it? And I don't like that they're making fun of us.
Well, no, I still prefer.
Right? Like,
I prefer.
Am I alone on here?
It sounds just like Kevin Spacey in that movie.
I know what you're talking about.
Bonfire. No.
Anyway,
where he plays
Midnight in the Garden of Good
Midnight in the Garden of Good. Yeah, where he plays a gay Southern man.
Was he a gay Southern man?
Yeah.
Well, you don't like it because it's playing into stereotypes.
Yes. That's why I don't like it, because it's totally playing into stereotypes. What is a gay voice? There is no gay voice.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about
He said flamboyant.
But I was expecting Leslie Jordan to be honest.
Right.
The guy,
good point.
The guy in the video had gay voice.
That's true.
So I don't know what he was asking the AI for.
Right?
I mean, it sounded to me like a typical conversation at Quest Club in Birmingham.
Wow. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Madonna mourns her gay brother Christopher Ciccone at concert. Madonna's gay younger brother Christopher Ciccone passed away last week after a long battle with cancer. Ciccone was a celebrated designer and artist. Though the brother-sister duo shared a tumultuous relationship, the pop icon recently opened up about the loss of her brother during her concert on October 6th. She said, quote, "My brother Christopher is gone. He was the closest human to me for so long. We took each other's hands and we danced through the madness of our childhood. In fact, dance was a kind of super glue that held us together," end quote. I heard about the passing of Christopher and I was super sad about it. I mean, him and Madonna spent so much time in Miami and down here, and considered Miami their second home for a very long time. Right. You know, by what I know, Madonna and her brother had a strained relationship. I remember the documentary. It wasn't Live to Tell. What was the
Truth or Dare?
Truth or Dare. Truth or Dare. Okay, yeah. When the part in Truth or Dare where she's like rolling around on her mother's grave, right? Christopher, her brother, says was the turning point of their relationship, was that he could no longer maybe deal with her on a certain level. You know what happened? Who knows? Drugs, alcohol, and South Beach. I mean, so many things could happen. You know, right. But but what I know is also that once she found out that he had cancer, she tried to find him the best help possible. Unfortunately, he didn't have long, and she made sure that he was very comfortable for his last weeks of his life, and is desperately mourning his loss right now. Of course, when someone's gone and you've been estranged from them for years, you're like, man, that lost time, I can't get it back.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Rest in peace, Christopher.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think that things like this are just putting my mortality in a mirror that I look at every single day. I've lost multiple people this year, and it's tough.
But I saw Christopher out and about a lot back in the earlier days, shortly after I moved to Miami Beach, and he was always very charming and friendly with me.
I bet he was. Yeah. I bet he was.
He had a rapier wit. You know, he really had a way with it. And even Madonna's reference that, you know, his tongue could be very caustic.
Yeah.
But they always made up, and I guess in the end, when it really counted the most,
they were there for each other.
Yeah. That is today's news for the queer community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show.
If our show and community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Rick Karlin, baby, woo! Gregg Shapiro with 2 Gs, Dale Stine, and Cindy Brown. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. We remind you, the presidential election is just 28 days away. Stand up for equality, rights, and representation. Make sure you're registered and ready to cast your ballot. And if you are sleeping with anybody who is not ready to cast their ballot, withhold sex now, all right? Let's make history together. Let's vote for a better future. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.